Recently, Code Geass has received an overwhelming amount of attention on my For You page. Just 5 or 6 years ago when I watched it, a Code Geass edit was far and few between. Now of course, to my dismay, TikTok has a comment feature, and as the Dunning-Kruger effect would suggest, those who are the most uninformed on a topic tend to have the biggest mouths, or in this case the fastest thumbs. Now based on my tone and creative editing, but certainly not the title or thumbnail, you would know my stance. Gurren Lagann is not even close to as good as Code Geass. Not in character, not in world building, not in plot, not in theme, not in style, and not in point of view. And definitely not conflict. The only good faith comparison that can be made is because they're both mech anime. Unrelated, I don't think I actually have watched a pure mech anime, or even, I don't even know what that even is, to be honest. Anyways, they both have a lot of overlapping character types, like the mad scientist, the best friend, and love interest archetypes, and so on, but that's really it. Now the hardest part about making the script was creating a convincing argument about why Code Geass was better than Gurren Lagann. Not that I have some sort of agenda, but that's not the point of having a YouTube channel. You have to be able to convey. That was the word I was looking for. Convey your opinion if you want to actually influence anything. With all my scripts, I pick a topic, a YouTube-worthy title, then I write a script. Beginning, middle, end. Although for this video, it would have been bullet point followed by description, back to bullet point, and so on. First was why the comparison. From my analytics, most didn't even get past that. Then debunking good conclusion equals good story. What was gonna follow was word building, characters, pacing, and writing. Then I thought, wait, why do I like Code Geass? Why do I think it's better? Really, this is my opinion after all. I knew for a fact which I preferred, but I couldn't put it into words. I thought I was just trying to get 2,000 words and get a 15-minute video. When I was typing it felt like I was just trying to get to the end of it. After some thought, I got it. Above all else, Code Geass is better than Gurren Lagann because of one thing, and that thing is character and character alone. Maybe not, but that sounds cooler and more distinguished and sounds like I know what I'm talking about, so I'm just gonna go with that. A common talking point when discussing Code Geass is end merchant. I put that in quotes, meaning that Code Geass is only good or relevant due to its, by their own admission, an incredible ending. Now a common rebuttal is good conclusion equals good story. It makes perfect sense. How could you possibly conclude a story that left a foul smell in its wake, right? Feces is so feces if you polish it, if you wrap it up. That was until I watched Gurren Lagann, and I had to change my definition of conclusion, at least in a theatrical or television or whatever sense of a show. A conclusion is something that satisfies the viewer. You'll never be able to satisfy everyone, but I think some conclusions most people can agree are satisfactory or at least actually incredible. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and fortunately, all bad things come to an end. Words to live by. Anyway, I'm not saying Gurren Lagann is bad. It's just really okay compared to Code Geass. You can make a mess out of a good situation and scotch tape the shit out of a terrible situation. Although, we'll get to this later. I would like to add that the last 3 episodes of Gurren Lagann are actually really good. Like, the ending is actually really good. The character performance in Code Geass is exceptional. When writing a character, you have to understand they, like us, believe they are the main character. Remember when you were younger, maybe 7 or 8, and sometimes you would think whether your friends still existed when they weren't in front of you? Like they didn't load in? Honestly, I still think this. Remember when seeing your teacher outside of school for the first time? You froze, you melted. It was your first eco-death at the age of 9. Stephen King warns that every character in a story should see themselves as the protagonist or main character. Doing so ensures that they have their own internal logic and perspective. If not, we risk the character becoming only a supportive character or a plot device, which they are. An experienced writer can do this with finesse. Characters develop agency, their motivations, attitudes, and actions become realistic, and we avoid one-dimensionality. Code Geass and Gurren Lagann have similarities. The time of release, how even character design. Just look at these frames side by side. but standout performance after standout performance, I'll jump the gun and summarize before I begin. Gurren Lagann gives you no choice but to have Kamina or Simone as your favorite characters. The other characters' ambitions aren't fleshed out enough. They don't have perspectives, and if they are, or if they do, like in Rossio's situation or the Spiral Kings, is only to satisfy the plot. At least that's how it comes off. Very one-dimensional. The writers said to give these characters just enough backstory and just enough exposition to make their perspectives believable to the audience. The result? Flat and uninspiring plot devices that populate the cast, with one or two quirks that make them different than their peers. I've decided to spend the rest of this video giving you examples of well-written characters.
Jeremiah Gottwald, I think, I don't know how to say that, is a fan favorite character and originally a secondary antagonist in Season 1. Before being a Nightmare pilot, he was the bodyguard of Lelouch's mother, who was ultimately killed in a plot by Vivi, the main antagonist's twin brother, or Lelouch's uncle, I guess. Early in Season 1, Lelouch, after making his big splash when he reveals himself as Zero, implies that Jeremiah was in on the terrorist plot. Disgraced, Jeremiah loses his rank and respect of his peer. Eager to return to his former position, he seeks to destroy Lelouch, even if it means disobeying orders. He finally gets a chance to kill Zero in the Battle of Narita, but ultimately he is defeated and left for dead. Delusional and barely able to walk, he stumbles upon Prince Schneisels, team of scientists who pick him up. The scientists experiment on Jeremiah with cybernetics and enhancements. When Jeremiah wakes, his lust for revenge on Zero is the strongest it's ever been. In Season 2, Lelouch and Jeremiah clash once more. In this encounter, Jeremiah asks Lelouch's reason for the uprising. Lelouch states his full name and title. Realizing who Lelouch truly was and his motivations, he returns to sanity and swears his loyalty to Lelouch to redeem his failure to protect Marianne. I could go on and on about characters whose story arc could be their own standalone anime, all happening simultaneously without disrupting the main plot.
And with no constant flashbacks like another anime I know. Other characters with notable storylines include Suzaku, Rolo, which in my opinion is hands down the most overhated anime character, Lelouch of course, Cornelia Lee Britannia, and others. This isn't to say that a story needs multiple characters with convoluted interconnected story arcs, but what I am saying is this does create a very cohesive story, and if you're going to make a story that heavily revolves around one character arc, being Simone in this case, you should really do a better job. Originally, this was going to be its own body paragraph. I believe a second season of Gurren Lagann would significantly improve the show's quality. Now I don't mean a second season starting from where the anime ends, but the same start and admittedly great ending over a longer period of time. This way characters could be more fleshed out, antagonists don't have to be pushovers and so on. While watching it almost felt as though the writers finished the story, then the animation started, then overhead the bosses or production said, hey, we're only going to air one season. I think the show had a lot of potential. Kamina dying early was unexpected, but it seemed entirely necessary since it was clear Simone was in fact the main character. As we come to the natural conclusion of this video, if I were to write a segment on writing, it would have been comparing both shows and how they handled the low points of the protagonist. In every good hero story, there's a point where all is lost. Lelouch's lowest point are very uncomfortable to see. The slight changes in personality and the little remarks. There's a scene in particular that is often quoted as uncomfortable to watch, but so necessary at the same time. It shows the breakdown of Lelouch's mental state. Often when we watch the media, we retain the same emotional state as the main character, but this scene in particular makes us step back and truly analyze Lelouch as a character. When the Light was on a murderous rampage, we still wanted him to win and fulfill his dreams. The scene I'm referring to happens in Season 2, Episode 7, The Abandoned Mask. I encourage everyone to go watch both anime and form their own opinions. The rise of social media and AI has done a bid on individuality. One thing I'd like to add is Cyberpunk 1977. Wait, no, that's not the name. What is the name of that? Cyberpunk 77? Is that the name? Wait, hold on. I have to search this up now. This is literally my favorite anime in the last 5 years. To come out in the last 5 years. 2077. No. It's Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Yeah, there it is. Cyberpunk Edge Runners did more in how many episodes? 11? 10, not even 12. Not even the usual 12. 10 episodes. Did more than Gurren Lagann could do with 27. It did more emotionally. It did more in... There's more memorable characters in Cyberpunk 77 or Cyberpunk Edge Runners than there is in Gurren Lagann. How? Each episode is 20 minutes. About 20 minutes. Take out the intro, take out the outro. 20 minutes. And yet the characters are more memorable. I can see it right here. When you search up Gurren Lagann or Cyberpunk, you get people also search for Gurren Lagann. So I guess I don't know. They both have. It's kind of mech anime, kinda. I mean, like it's like infusing your body with. Yeah, I mean it's kind of mech. Like Evangelion's mech, Kogias is mech, Gurren Lagann is mech. I'm sorry. Get top 4. Listen, not top 4, but let's take these 4. Kogias, Evangelion, Cyberpunk. Let me take my gum up my mouth. Cyberpunk and Gurren Lagann. Kogias, Gurren Lagann, Evangelion, Cyberpunk. Gurren Lagann is the worst. It is 4th place. It is 4th place. Can I say Kogias is better than Evangelion? I think I put Eva at the 1. I think that show touched me more. That show is very special for me. Kogias at the 2, Cyberpunk at the 3. That top 3 is so like top 3 can go any way you want. But Gurren Lagann is actually like undebatably. You cannot debate that 4th place. Like Gurren Lagann is holding that. Like hold that, little nigga. Hold that. You're gonna have to hold that. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to hold that 4th place game. You're just gonna have to hold that.